He's here. He's here. He's the light heavyweight of the moment. It's Ryan Spann.
Hey,
how is it, man?
What's going on?
Main event status this Saturday against Anthony Smith, UFC Fight Night in Las Vegas. That's got a different feel to it, a different sound to it when you hear that, correct?
It's all the same to me.
It's all the same, right?
It's all the same to me. Nothing different.
Okay.
I more so feel different as a person, not different as a who I'm fighting and where I'm fighting on the card. So, yeah, it's just one fight later than my last fight. So,
okay. Why do you feel different as a person?
The things that we worked on in camp, mentally getting there, like the changes that I've made as a person, more so than a fighter, because me making the changes as a person helped me become a better fighter. And so the changes, like I was telling my guy, I feel like I'm in my first camp, because I just feel so different as, working on getting my mental right, and my physical is always there, and seeing a therapist and things of that nature. Like, I just feel different now.
Yeah, I respect that. And I was going to ask you, at this level, there's so little separating the title contenders from the pretenders, from the also rans, because you're all tough badasses, but sometimes it is that mental game that separates you. What was a turning point for you in terms of, taking the reins to go even deeper on this focus?
It just seemed to happen. Like, it just, like I think I was talking about in my press conference, I was running one day, like it was already, it's a longer story than this, but basically I was running, and like I was just spontaneously started crying, and I just realized, like, I called my friends and I was like, yo, what do y'all think about this? And what do you think about therapists and all of that? And, Brian and Lorenzo kind of like coached me to go ahead and get the help. And like, I've been talking to my therapist now for about 4 weeks or 5 weeks maybe, and it just feels so different now, man. I feel like a new person, being able to stay in the moment and not look too far ahead or look ahead at all or look behind me, because most of my life I've been dealing with both depression and anxiety, now that I know the difference. So now being able to live in each moment, I feel so much better. I'm happier and I'm freer, which means I'm dangerous.
I love and respect that as somebody who has regular battles with depression and anxiety myself.
You're breaking up.
And I remember first getting some treatment myself and worrying, job wise, performance wise, on this microphone that I hold like a grudge. Could I be the same? Would I have the same energy? Would I be the same? And what I found, which I think you're translating here, is that freeing yourself from the negative opens up the positive. But did you have any of that type of fear? Because sometimes you think as a fighter, well, the meaner I am going in there, the more issues I got, the more I'm going to put it on my opponent, which is, not always true.
The difference, I guess, for me is, I think more in terms of the happier I am, the better I fight. And I've never wanted to be mad. Like I don't know if you followed anything or whatever leading up to this, is people apparently thought I was mad or like I had a problem with Anthony, and I do not. Like, I am happy. I am the happiest I've ever been. And it just doesn't, like, I feel freer. Like, nothing is holding me down anymore. I don't have any kind of negativity. I've eliminated a lot of the people and leeches and all of this shit that, my bad. All of this.
No, we welcome that kind of business in this show, okay?
So I just feel free, man. I feel loose, and man, I'm just happy. And me being happy is what I've always strived to be, because I feel like even back in the day in martial arts, I never feared it. I don't know who said it, but it's like, don't fear the man that frowns or the angry man that fights. You fear the happy man that fights. And man, like, I'm not saying that to say I need to be feared, because that's not what I'm saying at all. But Man, I feel good and I'm happy.
Hey, more power to that. Great to hear. Style wise here against Anthony Smith, who, as you already know, in his recent run, he only fights the best, and he usually does it in a main event. So this guy's as seasoned and traveled as there is. So when you put what you do well up against what he does well, what type of fight should we see on Saturday?
I don't necessarily know what he does well because I don't watch a lot of film. And forgive me, by the way, I'm working on my cue.
Oh, wow.
If when you see me looking down, that's I'm not ignoring you or I'm not texting or anything. I'm working on my cue. But I don't know what he does well because I don't really watch film, you know. So I know what I do well, and what I do well is win when I'm happy and when I'm free, when I'm me, man, man, it's hard to be explained.
Well, when I look at your record, you were submission heavy in terms of your finishes early in your career, but you've done something that you don't typically see. Sometimes you'll see a guy get a ton of knockouts early, but when they step up in class, they become decision fighters or point fighters. It's natural, right? You're facing tougher competition. Your knockouts have only increased since joining the UFC and since fighting better competition. How do you explain that?
Two things, I guess. So one of our first UFC fighters was Rashad Coulter. And I used to talk to Rashad all the time, and he was like, yo, you got good hands and you just need to start putting them on people. Because I chose consciously to submit people because I didn't want to knock them out because I felt like that was significantly worse on their health than me choking them. So
wow.
I didn't want to knock people out. And
you're a humanitarian out there. Wow.
So that's kind of where it came from. And like Rashad was like, man, look, that's dumb. He was like, you gotta have that dog, man. And I was like, yo, I got the dog. I just choose not to use it. And he was like, well, they don't. And sure enough, I mean, I think my sixth fight was like my first loss as a pro was a knockout. And I was like, I feel good. Like it wasn't that bad. And from then on, it was like, I remember going out with my family and we went to eat and stuff and like really just got to hang out. And I was like, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was because my biggest fear was getting knocked out, you know, starting out. And you got to wake up, you got to ask what happened because you don't know. And it's just, you know,
and you might catch
funny.
a meme. You might catch a meme on the old internet too if you get caught.
Well,
in one of those
back then, I don't know if they had memes real heavy like that, but you know, you fall funny and, you know, so I was like, I don't want to do that to somebody. So I'll just submit them. And then when I got I was like, you know what? Nah, that's just for the birds. So I think I don't know if it was my next fight or the fight after that, but I knocked him out. And that was one of them me or him situations. And I was like, we ain't going through this again. And then from there on, I got to the contender, lost, and that was another one where I was like, okay, I mean, it wasn't that bad, like, you know, and sure enough, again, you know, it came down to when I went back to LFA, I just had to start knocking people out. Like I'm done playing games, you know. I'm done playing games. I got to get you out there. It's either gonna be me or you, and it's got to be you if it comes to who's gonna get knocked out. Like it ain't gonna be me. So that's kind of where it kind of came from. But originally, it was like I didn't want to hurt anybody.
Well, you went back to LFA, had a heck of a run with submissions and then the multiple knockouts. Then you get that second chance at the Dana White Contender Series. You're in the UFC, but when my eyes got buggy toward what you might be, and I'm sure a lot of people was the 2019 Little Nog fight. You put it on him. That was like, who that, right? Like, wow. That's a legend. He putting that fade on. So, how big was that fight for your own confidence in this journey? Forget the confidence of the people watching at home.
Man, I don't know. That was a weird one because, you know, I went to his hometown fighting in Brazil, the Uva Maeda, and even though we had a lot of adversity, because I had just broke my hand, because I was supposed to fight Crute earlier that year, and I broke my hand, and then probably like 3 weeks later, I got a new kid, and we took the Nogueira fight, and my hand was still messed up, so we had to get ready for that fight without using my hand. And I don't know, man. I felt good. That was another fight where I felt great. Like I was training with my strength and conditioning coach daily, and it showed. Like we felt like the best shape I've been in up until now. Like I felt good, man, and it just happened. It just happened.
It did, and it put you on a run. And obviously, you had the one recent hiccup in that run against Johnny Walker. And when someone is making a move like you were doing and putting wins together, sometimes guys don't bounce back from that hiccup. You certainly have, in knocking out Misha Serkinov and getting, now to this main event level where, look, we can talk in a second what a win here against a name like this does for your career. Mentally, was that a hard loss against Johnny Walker to rebound from?
Honestly, I would say it was, and it's not because of the loss. It was the circumstances that led to the loss that was hard for me to deal with. I wasn't me. I wasn't in a good place, and like mentally, I was fucked up. And going into the fight, man, I just went there, and it showed.
Was it doubt? Was it like when were you just distant?
No, it wasn't doubt. It wasn't anything that I really care to talk about. It just like I had utmost confidence in the fight, which is why I continue with it, because I know what I'm capable of. It just I wasn't there. It was just a lot of things I was going through that came in.
Yeah. Are you a believer in the sense that, tell me if I'm crazy, that you were supposed to lose that fight, that this is an integral part in your journey?
I haven't thought of it that way. I've had losses where I thought that I needed that to get to where I was going, to help change my mindset and things of that nature. That fight, that situation did show me things to be aware of, and brought me back to reality on some things. And so it's hard for me to say, I was supposed to lose or whatever, because from the first time I touched him, I knew I could end it. And I don't know. It just, I'm still blessed. Like I know that, usually people lose and they fall. I lost that fight and I didn't move in the rankings. And it was just a minor setback for me. And it was really more so mental that I had to deal with and overcome. And we've addressed them issues, and I feel a lot better now.
All right. Well, I mean, you had big success in that fight before the defeat. So the way you're able to bounce back from that, it has seemed seamless. So when we talk about your place in the rankings and what's at stake, and right now, where are we at on the age here? What are you like? What you're like 30. You're right in the damn physical and mental prime when it all comes together. Do you wake up thinking about a belt every day? Is that what gets you out of bed? Is it just about being better than the day before? I mean, you don't want to put too much pressure on what this fight means, but what is in your daily focus that drives you to be better?
Taking care of my family, man. Like that being able to give my kids the life that I didn't have, and being able to change the life of the people that saw the things that we had to see, like my mother, my brother, my wife. Like times are hard, and like I'm in a position now to change it. I'm in the process of trying to buy my wife a house. Like trying to get out the apartment that we've been in, 2-bedroom apartment with 5 people, man. Like, I'm 6'5". I need room.
Love it. I
so
love it right there.
That's what drives me, man.
Uh, the people you grew up with in outside of Memphis, if they could have looked at, the 17-year-old version of you and said, "Oh, he's going to fight in the UFC one day and be a championship contender," would people have believed that?
Apparently so. So people remember more things about my childhood than I do, and I guess it's gonna be a thing that come out on ESPN Destin or whatever, where my mom was talking about. She had my very first belt. Like I was a wrestling fan coming up, and I've been obsessed with like belts. And so when I was little, I used to walk around with a football and a belt everywhere I went. And like my aunt, she sent me a thing on my birthday a few weeks ago, and she was like, "You used to walk around with this football in one hand, this belt in the other hand, and you could tell it was just going to be one or the other for you." And sure enough, it was.
That's great. That's great. Uh, you know, we bring up the belts because that's the ultimate prize in here.
Right.
How far away are you from a belt if you beat Anthony Smith on Saturday?
Hopefully a hop, skip, and a jump. Yeah. I want to be able to reach out and touch that thing. I took a picture and posted it at one of these fan things at the Houston show earlier this year, I think. And they had the belt sitting there. And usually I don't like to touch a belt unless I can earn it. And for some reason I picked it up. And when I picked it up, man, I was like, "Oh yeah, they fucked up. I got to get this." I got to get this. And that more so is like for me. And like I told my wife, I'm going to get her that belt. And because any belt I've gotten, I've given it to somebody. And this one is going to be for her because when I was an amateur, I had my only loss as an amateur, 9-1. And I didn't want to fight no more. And at that point it was free. So it was easy. Like I was fighting for free. I wasn't never going to fight again. Like maybe if I was getting paid, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going to fight again." And then I was like, "Oh, I need money. I'll go fight." But I was fighting for free anyway. So I really wasn't going to fight again. And she encouraged me to go ahead and keep fighting. So when I get this one, especially with all the shit I put her through, oh my goodness, man. Like the life we had was crazy. Like not being able to eat, not shit. Yeah, trying not to. But
no, that's a beautiful story. I mean, that's somebody standing by and picking you up when you don't think you have it, and they know you do, or you better, because we got to pay these bills, so you better have it. It better be
exactly, exactly. So that's why, man. The belt is for me, but I really want the financial security that comes with that, and being able to make these life changes. Being able to buy a house and buy my wife the ring she wanted, be able to get me one, being able to, just take care of my family. Like I took her on a vacation and like we left for like 3 days, with my brother and his wife. And like, that was the first time we ever got to do anything as like a couple. And man, like I can't give it up now. I can't. Like I've tasted it. I've tasted it. It's like the drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? I give you a little bit. That means you come back and get some more. And that's where I'm at, man. I can't let anybody get in the way of that. Like I'm not angry, I'm not upset, I'm happy. But at the same time, I can't let him stop this.
Speaking of the drug of this game, I just randomly was watching the Netflix documentary on Christy Martin yesterday, and Mike Tyson's in there, and he was talking about that pull that combat sports athletes have of that moment when you get the knockout and the crowd's going nuts. And he said, that's a drug. It's better than sex. It's better than any drug. And this is a guy that's had all the vices then and back, Mr. Mike Tyson. Is that true? What the heck does that feel like in that moment?
That's what I look for the most. I look forward to when I'm training and all of that moment where they can raise my hand, I can smile, and I take that deep breath. And that feeling, like I can go call my wife, I can go make plans with my family that I hadn't been able to do. Like halfway, man, all the shit that I put on. We have 3 kids in a small ass apartment, and my wife had to do most of the work when I'm getting ready for a fight. I pick them up as much as I can from school, and then when it come down to it, I just can't anymore because I need to be focused on training at that time or whatever's going on. And so I put so much on her. So for me to be able to take that breath and be like, it's over, and I don't have to worry about coming back with half a check. And man, he's right. Like it's not necessarily, I look at it as a drug. For me, it's just a relief because my job is done, like a job well done. Like that's what it's more so for me.
What a great introspective chat. I didn't know a lot about Ryan Spann, the person, coming into this. I feel like I do now. Saturday night, the main event, light heavyweights UFC fight night, you and Anthony Smith. So in closing, Ryan Spann, we got a prediction. What's this going to look like? You got one word to describe what's going to happen when you and Anthony Smith touch gloves and let that shit go on Saturday?
It's hard for me to say. I don't necessarily try to predict anything anymore. All I want is to take that deep breath while they raise my hand.
All right.
That's what I'm looking for.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
The sooner to fight that happens, the better.
Bring the dog. Hey, bring the dog with you. I think you're,
there.
Yeah, why not? Might as well. Hey, good chat. Best of luck to you on Saturday.
All right, thank you.